Hey YouTube, welcome back. Oh my goodness, my fan is on, sorry. Hey YouTube, welcome back to SIBZ, West Coast, East Coast siblings, where we cover your favorite movies and television. And today I am covering the last 4 episodes of Amazon Prime's new series, SOLOS. As always, you guys, like this video if you like this video, comment, subscribe, and click the bell so you can be notified of our coverage of other things. Christopher and I are covering The Flash, we just finished The Nevers, I just finished Debris, and we've got more things on the way. So click the bell if you like our personalities and like the way we cover stuff. Also, if you missed my coverage of the first 3 episodes of SOLOS, I will put that in the link below. So let's get into it. So I'm not going to give any spoilers on how these stories go. I'm just going to give a general overview of the back 4 episodes of SOLOS. I will note that in the last episode with Morgan Freeman, he's in the SOLOS program. Now, they don't really explain what that is, but I have a very strong inclination that this is the type of show where the more times you watch it, the more things make sense and you can start to see more connective tissue between the episodes. Even though it seems like it's an anthology, a lot of the episodes refer to each other in one way or another. Episode 4, Sasha's episode. Now, this episode was so strongly tied to what we as humans on the planet Earth, but I think especially as Americans in our sort of privileged wealth, have been going through with the pandemic. You know, she's hyper mistrusting of the man, which I would think in this story is sort of a metaphor for the government, but she's so distrusting it's to her own detriment. Now, what I didn't understand was the home bot that, you know, is trying to help her and whatnot. At the end of the episode, he just kind of, they lock her in the house again? Let me know, you guys. Maybe I missed something, but it seemed a little strange. But I want to talk a little bit more about her episode and kind of the political sort of subliminalness that was happening throughout all 7 episodes of SOLOS. So I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, the Sasha episode, I wasn't that impressed. I mean, it was interesting. It was beautifully shot. Oh my gosh, I thought it was gorgeous to look at. Just the colors and the way it was done. I think it was well performed. I just was kind of... I thought, and I may or may not pronounce this incorrectly, so I'm going to apologize in advance, but Uzo Aduba's performance was decent. I liked her much, much better in Mrs. America, but she wasn't terrible in this. You can tell she's a theater actress. She's very big, she's very theatrical, and some of the shots were very, like, dead on, like we were looking at a stage. But I think she did a good job. I just don't think there was, like, great material to work with. You can tell some episodes are written super strong, and other episodes are written just well. I think it was worth watching, for sure. I'm gonna say, not that it's a competition, but the winner of the back 4 episodes is definitely Constance Wu. Whew, she killed her episode. Oh my gosh. And I want to say that between her and Helen Mirren and, you know, versus the rest of the cast, I feel like their stories had the most heart. Anne Hathaway's had heart, but it just somehow missed the mark. The 2 of theirs were just so human in just realizing that life isn't great and sometimes your plans fail and sometimes you just suck. Like, sometimes as a person you make mistakes and you have to live with them. I really, really loved that element in Constance Wu's episode. It was great. And I really liked the way the story was told, in that the whole time I was like, who is she talking to? In every episode so far, we knew who the main person was talking to when they were doing these big long monologues. And with her, I think she was talking to herself, which made it even more kind of sad. And then further on, we realized some other things about what's going on with her and what happened to her and how she gets to where she is, which was really, really good. I think I would say actually her episode might be my favorite. Let me know what you guys think. Did you like her episode? Moving on to Nera's story, or Nera. Oh, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And I hope I can read my own handwriting. Not really sure. Anyway, I liked this episode. I thought the beginning was really boring, but the middle was really strong. This woman has a baby that is growing at a rapid pace. Like, I mean, he goes from birth to 2 to 12. The last iteration of him was really creepy. Like, no offense to that actor. I'm sure they were doing things to make him look weird, but I think some of it had to do with the fact that he was a baby 3 minutes ago, and some of it had to do with he just seemed wrong. But I really liked that element of the episode. It made you afraid. There was a lot of suspense. I cannot believe homegirl legit just dropped a baby and then, you know, kept it moving. It was definitely a different genre than the others. It was still sci-fi, but it teetered on horror a little bit. For me, I kept wondering when she was gonna start talking. In this, there was no monologue. She was always talking to her son. The question Morgan Freeman poses at the beginning of the episode is, who gets to live if you get to choose, or something like that? She was going to kill her son because whatever he was intended to be, which I guess is a normal, healthy baby, was not that. Now, in my mind, I'm like, is that any reason to kill him? I don't think so. She is reflecting on who she was and how she was treated as a baby, and she starts to realize that maybe her intentions aren't the best. And I won't spoil the end of it for you, but she sort of goes on that moral, ethical journey of whether or not she should keep this baby or get rid of it. Moving right along to the final episode, where we have Dan Stevens and Morgan Freeman. This episode, much like the episode with Nicole Bahare, once again, so sorry if I mispronounce people's last names, was not a monologue. Well, there were monologues, but it was the two of them talking to each other. They were having conversation, which I really liked. Now, what was pretty misleading to me was that the posters made it seem like Dan Stevens and Morgan Freeman had separate episodes, not that they were both in the same episode. So I thought that was odd. I like this episode. It is so good to see Morgan Freeman act sometimes. When he acts well, it's so good. He was just so genuine and that's one thing between he and Helen Mirren. With actors, some of them, when they have age on them and they're just talking about life, like, it just comes through so strong. So he did a fabulous job. I really, really enjoyed his performance. And I think Dan Stevens did a good job too. I mean, how can you not when you've got Morgan Freeman being so generous? And this episode ties up all of the episodes. So in this episode, without spoiling too much, Morgan Freeman's character stole memories to overlap his memories of himself and his child. They don't have a happy ending. I'm not going to spoil it. And we learn that the people whose memories he stole were people like Anthony Mackie, Helen Mirren. He stole a couple other people's memories. And you can tell he's a little bit further in the future, including Dan Stevens' memories of his mother when he was a child. And so Dan Stevens at first seems like he's like a nice guy, here to help him and whatnot. But the truth is he's kind of back for vengeance. But throughout Morgan Freeman sort of telling the story, they kind of have a heart-to-heart, and he decides to leave him with one memory. And I just thought that was so sweet. Like, I don't think there's any human interaction like touch in the whole 7 episodes. And then just to see Dan Stevens and Morgan Freeman hug was so nice. It was just really, really good. I cried, which is really unexpected. But I think everyone, especially during 2020 and 2021, can relate to loss. And when Morgan Freeman is telling Dan Stevens about his memory of, he says something along the lines of, oh, just because you forget a memory doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And I just thought that was really, really potent in today's climate. I'm sure lots of people have experienced loss, obviously, but for sure in 2021. It was just nice to hear, you know, that like you lose people, memories aren't the same as they were as the time goes by, but that doesn't mean that your relationship with that person was any less or anything like that. So I really liked that. I teared up, which is a sign. I mean, I never cry for anything, but I thought it was a sweet episode and a nice way to end all 7 of the Solos episodes. Let's get into some of my criticisms for the show, because I did have some. I've said this before on SIBZ, and I will say it again. I don't like my policies mixing in with my television. I'm watching TV because I enjoy the fantasy element of it. Solos could not get around that. And I just want to throw in too, I know with sci-fi, you know, you use it as an object to sort of see humanity and society through and whatnot, blah, 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 blah. I get that. I love sci-fi because of that. But when it's so on the nose, it takes me out of it. And I definitely had that with, you know, Anne Hathaway's episode when she's mentioning like Trump and what's going on there. And then like Uzo's episode where like her and her family didn't trust the man. They didn't trust the company that was in charge. They didn't trust anything that was happening. But then, of course, they're not trusting them ends up biting them in the butt. It's like clearly the writers of this are coming from one point of view, and they're sort of almost using their platform to push their agenda. And I was not crazy about that, but once again, you know, the creators of the show are artists just like any other television show creators are. They have a right to push whatever agenda they want. But I definitely felt that throughout this episode. Now, it didn't make it unenjoyable, obviously. I still really, really enjoyed the show. I thought it was well made, well executed. Things like that took me out of the story a little bit, and I don't have a problem with them being in it. I just wish that they could have been disguised a little bit better. I thought it was just so good at kind of examining the human experience from different points of view, examining how people deal with different types of things, how people deal with being alone, how people deal with dying, how people deal with killing other people, how people deal with difficult moral and ethical questions. I thought it was a very good look at humanity. A lot of the issues that they were dealing with were very relevant and present and are things that people are dealing with right now and today. I enjoyed the heart of Solos. There was so much humanity in it, even though each episode people were in essence alone on screen. I really liked that about it. And hats off to the actors, man. They all did a great job. I don't think anyone gave anywhere near an awful performance. Some were still better than others, but you know, you gotta have a horse that wins the race. So I would recommend Solos. I'm sure I have missed points that I want to talk about, but I'm hyper conscious of making these videos too long because, you know, I don't like to watch 12-year videos on YouTube. But let me know in the comments what you think. Let's chat it up. Let me know what you think about Solos, about the humanity aspect, about the political little nuggets that they dropped in there. If you think there's going to be a season 2, I'd love to talk to you about it. As always, don't forget to like this video if you like this video, comment, subscribe, and click the bell so you can be notified of all of our coverage here on SIBZ. That's all I have for Solos on Amazon Prime. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.